Good morning one and all. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for all the earlier responses, comments, likes and shares. Thank you one and all. My today's video is on poem number 4 of standard 10th, Lochinvar, written by Sir Walter Scott. The poem Lochinvar is written by Sir Walter Scott. Here the first 4 stanzas or the first 4 paragraphs are for memorization. You will get quote for memory. Poem of 4 lines for 4 marks. So you will have to memorize the first 4 stanzas, children. Coming to the poem. To tell you about the poet, he was an excellent storyteller both in the prose and in verse. This present poem, Lochinvar, is in the form of a ballad. A ballad is a folk song or a poem narrating a story. One of the main features of ballad is the musical quality of it. The repetition of the words or the lines in a lively rhythmic way. In a lively rhythmic way, when we repeat the words or the lines, it is said to be a ballad. So a ballad is a folk song or a poem narrating a story. In this ballad, Lochinvar, Sir Walter Scott tells us how in olden days a brave young man in Scotland possessed the necessary dash and pluck to do extraordinary things. The story is about a brave young man named Lochinvar. The story is about a brave young man named Lochinvar of Scotland and the beautiful Ellen of Netherby. The story is of Lochinvar and Ellen. So coming to the characters in this poem are mainly Lochinvar, the hero of the lesson, Ellen, his love, the clans, the Netherby clans, and the bride's mother, the father, the relatives, and the maidens. Coming to the first paragraph, let me read out the first paragraph and then I shall start with the explanation. Since this is for memorization, you have to read it in a rhythmic way. It will be easier for you to memorize it. The first paragraph of the poem. A young Lochinvar is come out of the west. Through all the wide border, his steed was the best. And save his good broadsword, he weapons had none. He rode all unarmed, and he rode all alone. So faithful in love, and so dauntless in war, there never was knight like the young Lochinvar. So this is your first paragraph, children. You memorize it in this way, so it will be easier for you to memorize. The explanation of the first paragraph. The poem begins with the narration that Lochinvar comes from the west through the borders between England and Scotland. He comes on his horse and his horse is said to be the best horse. Lochinvar only had a battle sword in his hand to defend himself. He was unarmed and all alone. He was said to be faithful in love, dauntless in war. Dauntless means fearless. He is said to be faithful in love and fearless in war. It is said that there is no other knight like the young Lochinvar. So to tell you, a knight is a man of high social position trained to fight as a soldier on horse. A knight is a man of high social position trained to fight as a soldier on horse. So this is your first paragraph. The second paragraph. He stayed not for brake, and he stopped not for stone. He swam the Esk river, where ford there was none. But ere he lighted at Netherby gate, the bride had consented, the gallant came late. For a laggard in love and a dastard in war was to wed the fair Ellen of brave Lochinvar. This is your second paragraph, children. Lochinvar did not stop anywhere. He neither stopped for thicket, that is the bushes, nor he stopped for stone. It means that there were many obstacles on his way, but he did not stop for any of these obstacles. He was hurriedly moving to the Netherby hall. He hurriedly swam the Esk river as he was passionate to meet Ellen. He stopped at the Netherby gate where Ellen's wedding party was to be held. However, Lochinvar had arrived late, and the bride had already consented to marry a person who was timid and coward. This person was chosen by her father, so she had already consented. Lochinvar had come late to the Netherby hall. But Ellen actually loved Lochinvar. Here in this paragraph, ere means before. But ere he lighted, but before he came at the Netherby gate, already Ellen had consented. Coming to the third paragraph. So boldly he entered the Netherby hall among bridesmen and kinsmen, and brothers and all. Then spoke the bride's father, his hand on his sword, for the poor craven bridegroom said never a word. Oh, come in peace here, or come in war, or to dance at a bridal, young Lord Lochinvar. So this is your third paragraph. Though Lochinvar was not invited for the party, for the wedding. There was no invitation given to him. But still, he entered the Netherby halls. There were men from the bride's side. The blood relations were there, the relatives were there, the family friends were there, the maidens were there. There were many people who were present for the wedding. Also, the bridegroom was present in the hall. But no one questioned Lochinvar. None of them questioned Lochinvar. Even the bridegroom did not question Lochinvar. The bridegroom is said to be a timid and a coward person. Now, Ellen's father comes forward, keeps his hand on his sword, and questions Lochinvar and asked him the purpose of entering the hall. He asked him if he had come there with the intention of war, or he had come there for peace, or simply to dance at the bridal celebrations. So the bride's father questions Lochinvar. That is the explanation for the third paragraph. Coming to the fourth paragraph. I long would your daughter, my suit you denied. Love swells like the Solway, but ebbs like its tide. And now am I come with this lost love of mine to lead but one measure, drink one cup of wine. There are maidens in Scotland, more lovely by far, that would gladly be bride to the young Lochinvar. This is your fourth paragraph. Lochinvar tells Ellen's father that he had denied a hand that he rightfully sought in marriage. He says that he loved Ellen passionately, but had to subdue his feelings only because he had denied. Ellen's father had denied. So he had to subdue his feelings. Lochinvar says that love swells like the Solway, but ebbs like its tide. So here, Solway is a river that separates England from Scotland. Solway is a river that separates England and Scotland. The tides in this river are said to be very strong. So he refers his love and says that love swells like the Solway but ebbs like its tide. Lochinvar further tells Ellen's father that he came there with his lost love only to drink a cup of wine and take part in the bridal dance. He tells that there are beautiful maidens in Scotland who are more lovely and willing to be his bride. They are willing to marry him. There are more beautiful maidens in Scotland who want to marry him. So he says that he has come there not with the intention of war, but only to have a cup of wine and to dance at the party. The fifth paragraph. The bride kissed the goblet, the knight took it up. He wafted of the wine and he threw down the cup. He looked down to blush and she looked up to sigh, with a smile on her lips and a tear in her eye. He took her soft hand, ere her mother could bar. Now tread we a measure, said young Lochinvar. So coming to the fifth paragraph, children, Ellen kissed the wine glass. Lochinvar took it up. Quickly he drank of the wine and he threw the cup. Ellen expressed her love for him by simply blushing and sighing and raising the wine cup of wine. There was a smile on her face and tear in her eye. Smile on her face because she could see Lochinvar. Lochinvar had come for the party. And tear in her eye because she had already consented for a person, for another person. That's why there was tear in her eye. Lochinvar just held her hand to dance, but her mother, Ellen's mother, couldn't bear it. In the sixth paragraph, so stately in form and so lovely her face, that never a hall such a galliard did grace, while her mother did fret and her father did fume, and the bridegroom stood dangling his bonnet and plume, and the bridemaidens whispered, it were better by far to have matched a fair cousin with young Lochinvar. So you can see that Lochinvar's majestic form, Ellen's lovely fair face, made the people present there say that Lochinvar was a better choice for Ellen. The galliard had a grace. Galliard is a dance for two persons. So the galliard had a grace. Now it had a grace because the dance was between Ellen and Lochinvar. But Ellen's mother was irritated and Ellen's father was angry. The bridegroom was lingering with his hat and the plume the hat had. So the bridegroom never said a word. Simply he was lingering here and there with his hat and the plume. The other maidens and the cousins who were there whispered that Lochinvar and Ellen made a better pair. So coming to the seventh paragraph, one touch to her hand and one word in her ear. When they reached the hall door, the charger stood near. So light to the croup, the fair lady he swung. So light to the saddle, before he could sprung. She is won, we are gone, over ban, bush and score. They will have fleet steeds that followeth young Lochinvar. Coming to the explanation of the 7th paragraph, when Ellen and Lochinvar danced in the Netherby hall, Lochinvar whispered something in her ear, and as they reached the hall door, they found the horse ready near the door. Charger, it is called. He just lifted Ellen in his arms. He lifted Ellen in his arms and sprung over the saddle. He had finally won her. They both were gone. The swift horses of Ellen's father followed young Lochinvar, but Lochinvar had crossed the banks of river, the bush, and the stone, and he was off with his love. Coming to the 8th paragraph, there was mounting among Grimmys of the Netherby clan, Fosters, Fenwicks, and Musgraves. They rode and they ran. There was racing and chasing on Cannobili, but the lost bride of Netherby never did they see. So daring in love and so dauntless in war, have you ever heard of a gallant young Lochinvar? Here, the people were angry. The clans who had come there for the wedding, they were angry. The different clans who attended the wedding, like the Fosters, Fenwicks, they all followed Lochinvar. They all chased and raced and followed him on the Cannobili hills. But Lochinvar was not found. They had lost their beautiful bride, and Lochinvar had won his love. It is said that Lochinvar was daring in love and fearless in war. He came all alone, unarmed, and in the presence of everybody, he fled from there with his beautiful Ellen. Finally, he won his love. In the last line, the poet has asked the readers, have you ever heard of a gallant young Lochinvar? So these are the 8 paragraphs of the poem. It's a beautiful story of young Lochinvar and Ellen. Hope you all have understood the summary of the poem, children. So here are the first 4 paragraphs of a memorization. A ballad is a folk song, as I have explained it. There are the characters like Lochinvar, Ellen, the clans, and the bride's mother, father, relatives, maidens, who all had come for the kids and the kinsmen. So we have the new words like night, air, solve, galliard, grimise, cannobili. These are the new words which we happen to see in the poem. Hope you have understood the poem. You have liked it. So what you have to do now? Like, share, subscribe, and your comments are always welcome. Your comments encourage me to do these videos. Coming to the explanation point of view, there are short questions asked in the examination, like who was Lochinvar? Why did he ride to the Netherby hall? Who was Ellen? What are the qualities of Lochinvar? What are the qualities of the bridegroom? How did the bride's father receive Lochinvar? What was Lochinvar's answer to the bride's father? What lie did Lochinvar tell the bride's father? Or reference to context for 3 marks may be asked, like love swells like the Solway but ebbs like its tide. Or one more important one is, oh come a in peace here, or come a in war. Or the question may be like, how did Ellen express her love for Lochinvar? Why did Ellen shed a tear? What kind of poem is Lochinvar? Of course, it's a ballad. The 3 to 4 mark questions may be like, how did Lochinvar finally win Ellen? How did Lochinvar finally win Ellen? Or the question may be like, justify, only the brave deserve the fair. Thank you one and all.